On this exciting mini-episode, it's Doris Leapchin Bannister against Rod the Picasso of Biscayne Bay Gleason. Who you got? It's a special audio edition of my Perry Mason Season 1 Defendants Tournament. Now, on the Perry Pod. Welcome, everyone. I'm your humble host, Jonathan Searcy. Before we move on to Season 4 of Perry Mason, I thought I'd finish out our Season 1 Defendants Tournament. The setup. I put all 40 of Season 1's defendants into a bracket. They're facing off against each other for the crown of Season 1 champion. My criteria? Pretty simple. Number 1, was the defendant memorable? Number 2, was the defendant the most memorable guest star in the episode? Slightly different. Number 3, did Perry respect the defendant? And number 4, do we have any other history with the actor or actress who played the defendant? You'll see how it works soon enough. I'm not really ranking episodes. My favorite episode from Season 1 is The Case of the Screaming Woman, but Leona Walsh, she's not going to make it out of the first round. I don't really care for The Case of the Fiery Fingers, but Nora Mae Quincy made it into the second round. This episode's matchup features a stepdaughter willing to canoodle with Werner Klemperer, Colonel Clink, for the sake of her stepmom, versus a man who secretly married an heiress and lived to tell the tale. It's Doris Bannister from The Case of the Desperate Daughter against Rod Gleason in The Case of the Sulky Girl. Let's see who comes out on top. Category 1. Was the defendant memorable? Doris is compelling, from her unexpected love for her stepmother to a romantic fling with Stefan Riker and feigned amnesia. Doris demands attention. She's contradictory, rambunctious, impetuous. Plus, she's the title character.
This is America, Lisa.
Rod, he's memorable too. He's a working artist. Look at the dude working on a picture in the denouement. His time in jail hasn't dampened his work ethic, that's for sure. After all, his relationship with Fran Chalain, the fact that she can't openly declare it, that's why she's so sulky. It's not a good thing that I want to make her the defendant and not him. If you check out my bracket at theperrypod.com, I initially filled in Francis's name as the defendant for this episode before recognizing my error. Advantage, Doris, because of the title. Category 2. Was the defendant the most compelling non-permanent character in the case? Well, The Case of the Desperate Daughter has its share of memorable characters. We've got Val Kilmer lookalike contest winner ranch hand Gary Marshall.
You know, ever since the first time we met, I've had a great big hand for you.
We've got Osa Masson as Lisa Bannister, the German stepmom.
He's the real head of the Communist Party in East Germany.
We've got Colonel Clink as our murder victim.
You know, I have a curious feeling that underneath that bold exterior, you're really quite frightened.
And the jealous father who murders Riker. But because Doris is so dynamic and so given to mood swings, she's as compelling as any of those characters. I wish we had a scene where she and Osa Masson slapped the daylights out of Gary Marshall, Stefan Riker, and Edward Bannister all at once. Again, the title's an indication of her importance. As for Rod, the episode belongs to Francis. I hate it! Not him. She begins and ends the action. It's her caretaker, Clara, who gets particular attention in the denouement. This is Fran's episode. I didn't even mention Papo. That guy, he's in this episode too. Rod's the guy who paints the portrait. Francis is the subject of the portrait. Advantage, Doris. Category 3. Does Perry respect the defendant? Perry talks pretty tough to Doris. He calls her on her contradictory passion for her stepmom.
No one ever did as much for me.
So you repay her kindness by suspecting her of murder. You know, I'm beginning to believe you're a father. You are mixed up. You make a childish gesture and endanger your own life and Lisa's. And all for nothing.
It wasn't all for nothing.
You still insisting Lisa is guilty so you can take bows?
I tell you, she was there that night.
The episode's finale involves the mystery of Lisa Bannister and the acknowledgement that if Doris was willing to go to the gas chamber to protect Lisa's secret, it's best not to pry. Salute to you, Doris. Rod's initial confrontation with Perry features this exchange.
You've tried to stay apart, but it just wouldn't work.
Look, Mr. Mason, I don't like anybody calling me a liar.
Even when you are?
When Rod's on the run, his case does not inspire Perry with much hope.
It's what the district attorney thinks that matters. From here, it looks like Berger's going to have himself a field day.
Perry's focus is on the Gleason kid, not Gleason. He wants a sulky boy, and that's a trait of Fran's. Advantage, Doris. Category 4. Do we have a prior history with the actor or actress? Gigi Perot shows up in one more Perry episode, The Case of the Sleep Slayer. And Brian Hutton, aka Rod Gleason, is also in one other episode, a brief appearance as an attendant in The Case of the Moth-Eaten Mink. Advantage? Gigi's part's bigger, so we'll give this one to Doris too. Final verdict. Doris wins this one going away. Sorry, Rod, you'll have to content yourself with being a new father and husband to an heiress. Starving artist, no more! Congrats, Doris. Your prize is some mother-daughter time with Lisa and the relief of not having to pretend to love Werner Klemperer. Now let's see what we can do about firing Gary Marshall, huh? As for the rest of you, may you keep on walking that Park Avenue beat!